Hello everyone and welcome back to a best of 3 series of professional StarCraft 2. Today it's time for the two very best Korean Terran players currently to face off against each other. And in game number 1 we find ourselves on the map Hardwire. Now spotting here in the top right hand corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have the most recent winner of the GSO code S, and his name is Kjur. His opponent already sending out an SCV towards what seems to be the other side of the map. A second one will be joining in as well. Playing with the red Terran pieces, we have Maru. The Maru, he didn't win the most recent GSO code S, but he has won plenty of those in the past. Widely considered to be, he's objectively the best GSO code S player ever, just because of the amount of medals that he has won in that tournament. He's extremely successful and very good in Terran versus Terran in particular. So, when it comes to TVT this year, I don't know what the exact number is. I might look it up in between the games. Either way, Maru, he's got like north of like 85% win rate in Terran versus Terran in series. Meaning that like if it's a best of 3, a best of 5, or a best of 7, there's like an 80-something% chance that Maru wins. Which is pretty incredible at this level. Obviously, that's not just him beating up Silver Leaguers or whatever. That is Maru going up against other, professional players. Like, for example, Kjur. Now, I'm not exactly sure how familiar Kjur is with Maru and whether or not these two are practice partners, right? Because if you want to be, the very best like no one ever was, you probably want to be practicing against the number 2, right? But obviously that's also the guy gunning for your title, so I'm not exactly sure how you approach that practice. Either way, Kjur gets into the main base right now, and he's going to scout around, and he finds absolutely nothing. So he's going to see the second gas, that's something, but this still doesn't really tell him how committed this proxy is going to be. It's going to be 2 Reapers over here for now. He's probably going to use the little jump-up pad to go into the main base. The problem is, right, Kjur doesn't know if there's like a barracks planted over here or maybe over here just to try and trick him. He also doesn't know if it's like a triple Rex proxy, if it's like a proxy barracks into a proxy factory into a proxy starport. There's a lot of variety when it comes to this sort of shenanigans, and well, Maru likes to mix it up, and that's exactly the reason why this build order is so very scary. In this case, it's more or less a middle-of-the-road sort of approach. He'll probably follow this up with some good old classical... Where did the scouting SCV go? Oh, wow! Did he lose the scouting SCV? Okay, I was gonna say, that must have been a scouting... Okay, I'm gonna back up. What happened? Sorry, I need to know. There was a scouting SCV. Did he... okay. He just got killed by the SCV that was building the supply depot? And the guy that probably came to rescue? Like, to the rescue of the SCV that was being attacked, but... Okay, that's a little bit sloppy. Anyways, what I was gonna try and say... What was I gonna try and say? Oh yeah, Maru is probably just gonna expand behind this. This is what I was trying to point out. Obviously, he does need to deal some sort of damage. Looks like it's going to be 4 Reapers for now. 1 barracks already lifted up. I do like this supply depot right here on top of the high ground, though, because Kjur is not going to be caught with his pants down. Already salvaging the bunker that was over there previously. Alright, so how much damage are we going to be able to do? Here we go. Reapers going into the main base. Hellion actually very exposed. Okay, nice micro right there by Kjur. SCV over here taking a couple of hits as well to the face. Just kind of contemplating death there. Eventually, though... Oh my god, look at the body block! Stevie! What a legend. Eventually, though, the Reaper did end up killing... Or the Reapers, rather, ended up killing the Hellion there. Which is quite nice. Kjur did go for a command center on the back of this. And so does Maru. But Maru's CC is quite a bit later right here than Kjur. Despite the fact they lost, like... Well, 1 worker. It's not the end of the world. Looks like an additional Reaper was also made. So 3 more Reapers are going into the main base. As long as they don't kill Stevie, I'm okay with this. But now this is actually looking quite a bit better. Yeah, it's only a handful of Marines. Cyclone is not out just yet. Okay, another SCV goes down. Another SCV goes down. So 6 workers here in total. Now all of a sudden this opener here from Maru is completely justified. Stevie, luckily for us, was not part of that battle. He's got a mule friend right now. They're mining a mineral patch together. Nothing really creates a bond like mining a mineral field together. Anyways, well, that's one way of doing it. Not the end of the world, of course, for Kjur, but definitely not the start he was hoping for. And one of those pesky barracks is still out on the other side of the map as well. Kira's gonna soon go towards the low ground right here with his command center, only to find, I think, yeah, that there's a barracks landed over there, so this is just him rubbing salt in the wound, although there's 2 Cyclones out. They deal plenty of damage, they might even be able to kill this. So maybe this move right here from Maru was just a little bit too aggressive. I love how they roll forward a little bit, they're taking turns. Alright, so eventually this barracks will be burning to the ground. Ravens are coming up. Ravens, of course, absolutely critical units in Terran versus Terran. So the core unit composition in Terran versus Terran in the mid to late game is usually Siege Tank Marine. The problem is that Siege Tanks can shoot away further than they can see. So you can see right here the distance at which this Siege Tank can still fire. However, it doesn't have vision by itself of that unit. So you kind of also, or of that distance rather. So you kind of also do want to have spotter units out. Usually flying units or... well, I guess later on you can also use those scans very effectively. Either way, having that air dominance is very helpful just to help your siege tank shoot. The thing is, Vikings and whatnot are obviously very critical, but Ravens also help out in the battle so much. Okay, nice engagement here once again for Maru. Maru, I'm trying to explain the mid-game of Terran versus Terran, my man. You don't just have to go out and win right now. That would be kind of rude. So Ravens have a skill called Interference Matrix that allows them to temporarily disable enemy units, like for example the Siege Tank, which is where it's most commonly used. They also have an auto turret that's extremely good. Well, there's the Interference Matrix. Thank you, Maru, for showing it this time around. Gets the lock-on over here as well with that Raven providing high ground vision. Siege Tank ends up going down. Marines over here also ended up getting murdered. One of the Mules also will not mine for much longer. Okay, one of the Cyclones there does get picked off. But Cure is being bullied so far. One of the reasons for that, though, is that he decided to send out his own Raven. So at this point, obviously, pretty much all of the units that can fight in red are on the other side of the map. So maybe this Raven can actually get some sort of work done. It's gonna take some time for this one over here from Maru to regenerate more energy, although the first one is gonna be joined by a friend. Okay, so this is nice. This is actually costing the Terran player in red like 100 plus minerals. Not only did he just lose 2 SCVs, which is obviously 100 minerals, but every single second that one of these SCVs is not mining, it's about 1 mineral, 0.8 to 1 mineral, depending on the mineral patch they mine, of potential, you know, lost income. Which, yeah, made this game a whole lot more playable right now for Cure, although he really shouldn't be losing this. Ay. Alright, yeah, that's a little bit sloppy. I don't really like that too much. So far, Maru seems to be making short work of everything that's Cure so far. Cure's gonna have to step it up a little bit. Third command center, though, for him is done. He's going into double NG base here as well. You can see that despite the fact that he went for that, double barracks on the other side of the map, Maru really isn't behind, you know, tech-wise at all. As a matter of fact, his Stimpback is quite a bit faster than his opponent's. He's just constantly in the opponent's face. Okay, a couple more interference matrices, allowing Maru's siege tanks to get into a better spot, get the first missile in as well. Those auto turrets here from Cure are not really helping out all too much. That siege tank over there in the back is taking a lot of damage. One additional tank, though, for Cure is going to join in, so eventually that will all help out. Now the Vikings of the blue Terran player, or sorry, of the red Terran player, have also arrived on this side of the map. One of them is going to land and finish off the Marines. My god, Maru is just so clean. Ay. Maru really does seem like he's on another level, or on another level recently, right? Like, he really is looking incredibly strong. I don't want to hype him up too much, because I don't know who ends up winning this, but so far, Maru seems to be absolutely decimating Cure. Okay. Maru's units, though, are all very low in hit points. I wouldn't mind it at all if these units decided to go home. This is so dangerous. Okay, yeah, one of the Ravens go down. Or goes down. Scan right there just to see if the units are actually going home this time, which I think they probably should have done a little bit sooner, but anyhow. Maru disagrees. Look at the units that were already on their way to join the initial squad. There's gonna be the moment, though, where Cure has a little bit of time to breathe. It's very easy to forget important upgrades during this early game pressure. Not happening right here for Cure, though. He's going to go already into Barracks 4 and 5 at this point, so he's going to be able to get quite a nice amount of units out. Obviously, this early game advantage from Maru is nice, but Terran versus Terran is also very much so a matchup that's difficult to close out just because of those siege tank lines. It's very complex to, kill your opponent, unless you can just, get the jump on them. But oftentimes, if there's a bunch of siege tanks over here sieged up, how are you going to kill it, right? You need interference matrices, but easier said than done. So a 20 supply advantage is significant, but is it significant enough to just straight up win the game? Maru thinks so. At the very least, he's going to test to see if his opponent, is going to make another mistake. Interference matrix once again? No, this time not the case. A little bit funky right over there as well. Both players making a bit of a misclick, but... Second siege tank available here for Cure right now, too. Gets the siege up. Nice and speedy. Third siege tank, too. So that air dominance right now is in favor of Maru, who could even consider adding on a Liberator if he really wants to at this point, which is going to force those siege tanks to unsiege. Maru, I don't think he can roll. Did he just reposition the siege tank? He doesn't really know exactly how far his opponent's tanks can fire. Like, we can see the nice dotted lines and stuff, but it's not so easy to know that when you're actually in a game. Anyways, here we go. Apparently, Maru believes he just has enough to win this game right here, right now. But was that a little bit overzealous? I think it was. Siege tanks in blue still up and running, and Cure is going to be able to hold. Okay, nice. Now we've got ourselves a game. +2/+2 comes up for Cure right away. Maru a little bit later on the armor upgrade, which definitely, was something that could make a difference in these fights, or can be something that can make a difference in these fights. Cure is going to be a little bit faster on that, so that does mean he has a timing window when 2-2 finishes for him. Liberators are coming up right now as well for Maru, though. So Liberators have a skill called anti-ground mode or something along those lines. I don't know exactly what the skill is called. I think that's it. Liberation zone? Something like that. Anyways, they can basically use it on siege tanks. They're like flying siege tanks in a way. And they can force the tanks of the opponent to unsiege. And that's one of the advantages that Maru has right now, that he's got that air superiority and that Viking count. So here's the libs. This is very hard right now for Cure to push through. Instead, Cure decides to go for Medivacs. So it's just going to be Marine Medivac Siege Tank right now for the blue Terran player. Both players, though, are climbing when it comes to that supply count. Maru secured a 4th base during all of this. 4th CC is much later here for Cure. So instead, he wants to go for a push. Okay, grabbing 2 of the tanks right there of the opponent is definitely not bad whatsoever. Tanks in the back are also still helping out right here for Cure. I wonder if, though, this was a bit too much of a meat grinder there. This siege tank now responsible for 8 kills. Liberator using that anti-ground mode right there to get one of the siege tanks hit badly. Okay, here we go once again. This time around, Maru believes he has enough. He's got a lot of reinforcing Marines coming up as well. Siege tanks in the back dealing a ton of damage. Many of the Marines, though, do still stand. Okay, anti-ground mode this time around, confirming 1 kill as well. Vikings landing right next to the blue siege tanks. And Maru just, became a little bit more successful. Now 35-ish supply up on his opponent. When you're both making the same units, that's very significant. Obviously, that eco lead of his is also helping out a lot. He's even got a 5th command center right now coming up on position. Just look at the minimap. He's just got his rally points of all of his unit-producing structures set over here. This has basically been Maru in the driver's seat from start to finish. Well done. Alrighty. Game number 2, we are on Berlingrad. Definitely a map where you can plant proxies on the other side of the map. I'm just saying, Maru. Really? Really? That was a joke, Maru. Because every map is a map where you can build proxies on the other side of the map. Generally speaking, the larger maps, though, do kind of lend to them, or lend themselves to that sort of thing a little bit better. Just because on Curious Minds, you don't get that much advantage just because the map is so small. By building your structures on the other side. Anyways, Maru is gonna go 2 for 2. Fair enough. Barracks number 1, already coming up. Barracks number 1 also building here for Cure, safely inside of the main base. Berlingrad does also have a little jump up pad right over here. So there's a little exclamation point right there to indicate danger, I guess, for Cure. Although he doesn't need to be told, he knows that there's going to be a little jump up location. Either way, it's once again one of those 2-step ones where, you know, the red Terran player is going to have to do, they're going to have to spend a little bit longer going into that main base Let's see. Cures once again. Deja vu, right? Scouting. Going towards the other side. You'll probably find out absolutely nothing. Probably once again double gas inside of the main base of Maru by the time that he gets there. And yeah, what do you expect? Alright, Reaper number 1 coming up. First SCV going home. This SCV will probably continue scouting. There's the second gas. Identical build orders here from the both of them so far. Second gas coming up as well for Cure, I think right around the same time. He's even going to once again put a supply depot next to the jump up pad. Maru's like, well, you know what? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Let me try again. Last time I got like what, 5 SCVs early game? Maybe 6? Pretty good. I would like that once again. Cure probably thinking right now, is this guy really going to do the exact same build again, or is he going for something else? Right? That's the tricky part. He doesn't know what sort of Maru is going up against. Well, at this point, the Reaper has been spotted. Bunker once again comes up. Factory already in the back as well. Nice safe position right there on that factory. Can't be accidentally sniped. Or units that pop out of it can't be easily sniped. I think he's once again going to wait until he has about 4. He wants to go for that Reaper. Look at this. The SCV just got a crazy scouting path over here just to make sure that apparently it stays alive for as long as possible. This is strange too though. Secure right now sees the Reapers all the way on the other side of the map. They could have been made in the main base. I guess it only really matters where the position of Reaper number 4 is, right? That's the only one that's relevant here. And that one will be spawning a little bit closer to the battle. Anyways, first barracks going into the main base. 5th Reaper also comes up. Just as we have the salvage right there on that very first bunker. Almost feel like he should have kept that alive, but I guess it wouldn't be in range of this fight anyway, because then he would go and fight behind the mineral line. CC does come up here eventually as well for Cure. This time around, Maru's one is a little bit faster. Stevie over here, reincarnated into the next game. Once again, trying his very best. Oh, I love that. Using the high ground vision right here that the barracks provides to kill Stevie is a little sad, but he wants to get a Marine too, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, that was a little bit overly ambitious. So this time around, not nearly as good a start right here for Maru, and it's instantly reflected as well in that supply count. Yeah, this little jump up ledge is so small. The Reapers have to like take turns and stuff. It just... yeah, no, you can hope for some lucky grenades, but... Alright. Barracks number 2 goes home. I'm sure barracks number 1 wants to go ahead and land over there again. Cyclone is coming up. I've got a feeling that this factory isn't even needed. Barracks is going to be down by the time that Cyclone comes out, it seems. Not quite. Close enough, though. Alright. So was that worth it right here for Maru? No. This time around, I don't think so. Maru's like, you know what? I've got units. What's the best place to be? My opponent's side of the map. Let me just, well, at the very least be aggressive and posture as if I'm ready to be engaging. I don't think this is actually an army that Maru can really fight with, though. Yeah, okay, go home, man. It's a little smarter. Cure starts up the 3rd gas here before the CC is even landed. The reason for that is just the Raven. So the Ravens are 200 gas each. You really do want to get them out, but they're expensive as hell, so... Need to make sure you get enough gas income as well to make them. Did I ever mention the fact that they also have an anti-armor missile? I always feel, I'm actually curious in hearing your thoughts down below in the comment section of this video. But I always feel like spellcasters in StarCraft 2 have too many spells. I feel like as a caster, like I try and explain the spellcasters in the game because they're usually quite complex. And I know that if you don't watch StarCraft 2 every day, which I find hard to believe, okay, but there's apparently people out there that don't spend watching StarCraft, you know, spend hours watching StarCraft every week. I know it's crazy. Anyways, I always kind of feel like spellcasters in StarCraft 2 have too many spells on them. Like an Infestor has like, you know, spells that are all pretty useful. A Viper all has spells that are very useful. High Templar have multiple spells. I kind of feel like spellcasters should just like, at least from like an esport or like a viewer's perspective, it will probably be much easier to follow if like every spellcaster just has 1 spell or maybe 2. But the Raven, for example, has 3 that are all pretty different and they don't really remind me of anything else. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like 1 to 2 spells per spellcaster would probably be more reasonable. Like maybe one that's like used commonly, and then one that's maybe a little bit more niche. Like maybe Feedback and Silent Storm. I think many people probably think that the High Templar only has one, you know, spell. Anyways, I'm just thinking out loud here, but I've always kind of thought that like 3 skills for a spellcaster, it's a bit much. Cure, ready to be more aggressive this time around, since he hasn't gotten hit in the face nearly as much. Reaper over here, apparently, from the early game, hiding in the tall grass. Not gonna happen this time around. Now, if you've been watching a bunch of the Maru games that I've covered on the channel recently, you know that this man doesn't really die. He is extremely good defensively. And part of it is the structures and the way that those are positioned, but also the way that he likes to put down his siege tanks and yeah, the way that he gets his scouting info. At this point, he doesn't really know exactly what's happening here, though. So maybe Cure can finally catch him off guard. But what I'm trying to get at is that I haven't really seen Maru be caught off guard really ever in the last, like, half year, it seems. Okay, here go the interference matrices, though. Beautiful move right here by Cure. Shutting down those siege tanks in the reds. And right now, okay, he's just walking over this. Getting 3 siege tanks at this point in the game is absolutely massive. I almost feel like Cure can just brute force his way through this. Just go. Just go. I know you're going to lose units. He obviously doesn't want to risk it. Right now, the siege tanks are in range as well of the command center, if I'm not mistaken. Blue Cyclone there, almost getting picked off. Yeah, they are in range of the siege, of the CC, which is very annoying. Okay, here go the auto turrets. Apparently, Cure wants to approach this a little bit more safely than I was suggesting. I just like fireworks, what can I tell you? Anyways, obviously, as soon as the siege tanks are in range of the CC, and there's really no way for Maru to break it, life becomes a little bit tricky. Now, he is going to go for a Liberator. Okay, so he's going for a Liberator and a Viking right there at once out of that one starport with a reactor on it. So that's apparently the way in which he plans on forcing these siege tanks in blue to unsiege. But he's wasting a lot of resources as well on, yeah, just repairing that command center back up. Here goes Jimmy. Jimmy here providing a vision for those siege tanks that they need. Liberation zone coming up. Stimpack at this point, though, is done here for Cure. There it is. Actually, was it there? I don't think it was. I think these units were just bruised from the earlier battles. Yeah, just another siege tank joins the 3 that were already there. There you go. Maybe I should have the camera like this. One siege tank from the high ground from Maru does get the final hit. Okay, that's good. But, I mean, on the back of this, Cure is already mining 3 bases. So even if all of these units are traded, it's still a terrible situation for the Red Terran player. Although Maru really is still making a stand here. So patient. So patient. He probably wants to save up enough Marines right now to go in. Okay, he actually goes like a second before Stimpack is out. At this point, he does have an awful lot of units, and Maru does break out of it. He should have actually waited like 2 more seconds until Stimpack was done. Those Marines, halfway throughout the battle, all of a sudden found a shield in their back pocket, and they were like, hey, what's this? It's a bit strange. It's basically a plus 10 HP buff for the Marines. Maru, you can't actually be winning this, right? Maybe? Even when he's significantly behind, he still looks so scary. The Maru casts, by the way, are very quickly becoming Loko fanboying over Maru for, you know, the duration of the video. And I can't really help it. I mean, I'm trying to be an unbiased caster, but it's hard to do so, man. This guy's very good. 3rd CC right now on the low ground as well. I'm just a fan of high-level StarCraft. Anyways, here we go. Okay. An absolutely massive anti-armor missile right there, which is that 3rd skill of those Ravens. Okay, maybe Maru is going to be able to return the favor. Siege tank over there just shut down a whole load of those. The supply count is actually even right now. Cure is still ahead, but like, mostly because of upgrades. Not really with something that he can, like, you know, win the game with right here, right now. So when 2-2 finishes, right, those Marines of Maru are gonna get shredded. So Cure's units are just gonna be able to deal so much more damage. He's even got the +1 infantry, or sorry, siege tank attack upgrade coming up here as well, instead of the armory. You're scouting around the base. Now all of a sudden it's Maru who's once again on the offensive. I swear to God Maru was dead like 6 minutes ago, wasn't he? Fourth command center comes up here for Cure. This is scanned right away from Maru. Yeah. Berlingrad doesn't really, like, when your opponent holds this spot of the map, it's very difficult to actually push up the ramp. Maru's gonna try. Maru is gonna try. He knows that 2-2 is gonna be finishing up soon for the opponent, so he wants to actually get this engagement out of the way before that happens, but there's way too much right here for Cure. Alright, yeah, +2 actually finishes in that battle. Suddenly those marine bullets all of a sudden do more damage. There it is, okay. Whew. GG. And that brings us to 2,000 atmospheres, which will be the final map of this best of 3. Maru, are we, come on, Maru. Maru, come on, man. No, that's the depot one, isn't it? Yeah, that's the depot one. Are we? Oh, we are. He's actually set the rally point of his command center towards the other side of the map. No, Maru, really? All right. 3 for 3 with proxy barracks. I mean, it could just be a scout. But it's Maru. Is he gonna send a second SCV? Aww. It could still be a barracks on the other side of the map, though, because this is kind of early for a scout in a weird location. He might just be building a second barracks in between those, like, tall grasses over here. Those are vision blockers. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So now we have a variation of the same theme. Still proxy barracks, but this time only one. I guess the fourth Reaper would be coming out of this one? Yeah. Maybe he came to the same realization that I came to. It's like, wait a second, if you're proxying the barracks on the other side of the map, and really only the timing of the fourth one matters before you actually decide to commit, why proxy the first barracks? Why not just only proxy the second? Anyways, this time around, though, it might actually backfire for Cure just a little bit. Cure already has gone for the second gas in the main base, so that's something, but he sees that there's a barracks on top of the ramp. He probably thinks, oh, thank God, that's much better. Yeah, it's I don't know if it is. This could actually backfire. So, factory comes up. Once again, we have the little jump-up pad. This time around, is that actually fully blocked? I think it is. So there's a little jump-up pad over here, but I think the one supply depot tucked away in his little corner could probably block anything from getting up that ramp. Oh, Cure, with the God senses. Does not trust the situation one bit. So now he's seen exactly what it is he's going up against. Okay, Cure's first Reaper. Desperately running back home. Are we going to make a bunker over here, or are we feeling confident? Nah, command center comes up right now. Hellion also being built here. Maru wants this Terran player in blue to engage, but so far it's not happening. It's gonna need a second depot, though. Cure, that is. Or I guess he's already got a second depot over here, but... Okay, he decides to build it over there in the back of the... back of the main mineral line. A third depot, I guess, is what we're looking for. Either way, Maru starts up the command center once again, but this time around it is much later than the CC in blue. And honestly, yeah, I like this position for Cure a little bit better. Here's that, here's that barracks once again, for the third time in a row, floating on over. I mean, it's one way of getting a scout of your opponent's base. Maru sees everything. The all-knowing Maru, he doesn't need to see the gases, he knows that those are taken. Okay, a couple of units here are going to be pushed back. Maru did follow up with a quick factory at his side of the map as well, so he's going to have his own Hellions available. This is a pretty scary army, to be honest. There's only one Marine out. I'm assuming we're going to still go for a Cyclone, indeed. So this time around, he could definitely block the opponent's natural for a little bit, but once again, using that barracks as a tool. Yeah, there it is. Command center will try and, like, get towards the low ground. I mean, honestly, these Terran units early game, they do deal quite a bit of damage. So it's not as bad as, like, a Zealot fighting a barracks at this point in the game, but... it's blocked. That's what he hears right now. It's blocked. He probably plays with Korean. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he's using the Loco announcer. He's probably using the Loco announcer. That would explain why Maru is so good at the game. Or Cure, rather, is so good at the game. Alright. So we're transitioning towards... Well, guess what? Mostly the same thing. Maru has units out, though. Yeah, so he's thinking about sending them out towards the other side of the map. He's like, wait a second. If I can be in my opponent's face, why would they possibly be at home? He's only gonna send out the ones that move easily, though. Marines, while they wear spacesuits and stuff, they're kind of slow until the medevacs come out, until they get Stimpack and stuff, so being a little bit more cautious with those. This time around, we do have a Banshee moving towards the other side of the map. Third command center does come up on location. First time we see a Banshee in this game, and actually really like it. Or in this series, rather. Not a Raven first, but not a whole lot of anti-air available either here for Maru. Not the fastest reaction time either. Definitely did not come expected whatsoever. Yeah, okay. Nicely done right here by the blue Terran player. Good move right here from Cure. Going into his own Raven here eventually. His Ravens, that is. He's already got one out. Although this I don't like. Yeah, no, that one's dead. So Maru does clean it up, but he loses 4 SCVs right here in the process, and this once again opens up the opportunity for Cure to be aggressive a little while later on into this game. For now, though, he decides to add on barracks number 2 and 3. We'll probably be going into the NG base relatively soon as well. Stimpack, the whole shebang. So that means we've reached a bit of a lull in this game. Both players are probably going to be chilling for the most part. Not really building too many, I mean, they're building a lot of army here, but not really units that they can use aggressively for not a little while. Maru's scouting around the map as well, making sure that his opponent isn't going for any crazy proxies. This is something we see the pro gamers do all of the time. But it's something that's easily forgotten at the lower leagues. Or sometimes I've casted games where people have submitted replays to me saying, oh my god, I had no idea he had that expo in the corner of the map. And it's literally mined out over the course of like 15 minutes and it's just completely unscouted. These players do check the corners as well from time to time. But honestly, they do most of their scouting just by being aggressive, right? So when they're constantly in each other's face, Maru would notice if there's like 400 minerals worth of Marines missing, right? Because like, you can make the assumption here that Cure is spending his money. Because otherwise, you know, he wouldn't be playing at this level. And he should be able to tell that there, like, if there's 400 minerals worth of Marines missing at this point, or like 400 minerals or 400 resources worth of army units here, Maru would just win this battle straight up. So that's one way in which they scout indirectly as well, whether or not there's any like corner expos that are randomly acquired. That's why these little moves outs, they seem random and they seem kind of silly, but they're keeping the opponent honest. Cure right now doesn't actually see that the opponent just sieged up right over there behind the rocks. Careful. Okay, he does need vision over there. He does get it. Maru decides to back off once again. We're just adding on more and more production. Man, Maru does play very aggressively in TVT, doesn't he? So this is without Stimpack or anything. He knows that his opponent likely will be finishing Stimpack soon enough, so he does need to be cautious. The Raven hit squad moving on over towards the natural expo. Alright. These are actually so annoying though. They deal so much damage. Okay, very slow reaction time right there from Cure. That's 8 SCVs down the drain. There's even some damage over here inside of the main base too. Ay. 15 SCVs for just a bunch of auto turrets. 16 even. Okay, maybe the Ravens will end up going down though. There's no recall available in this matchup last time that I checked. So this Raven over here is apparently sacrificing itself for the others to get out. Kind of a beautiful move here. Picking the high HP Raven to distract the rest of that blue Terran army. Just so these two can get out. That's a noble sacrifice, isn't it? Alright, so these two obviously can be repaired back up because they are mechanical. Here's two SCVs already running in that direction to meet them. And, well, after finishing the repair right here on that Viking, they'll try and repair the Ravens as well. That was kind of a beautiful move. Stories can be written about that one Raven that gave itself up. Alright. Kjør going for the armory right now. Allowing himself to go into the 2-2 upgrades as well. We do need to see those started pretty soon though, because he had a nice lead in those, but his opponent is soon going to be finishing up his own. And now all of a sudden those upgrades are dead even. Okay, he does start up +2 eventually. I'm assuming Maru already has an armory. He does, because obviously he does. He's even getting the +1 siege tank weapons. Kjør is on the prowl. Got +2/+2 coming up. That's not a reason why you want to be aggressive in this matchup. Theoretically, at least. It's a way in which you can widen the timing window, right? So, a lot of players right now, they would see this blue army moving around, and the last thing in their mind is to start up +2/+2 upgrades, because that's like, you know, so many resources down the drain that you're just not going to get advantage from until like, you know, a minute or two from now. And even if Kjør doesn't engage and just wanders around here and you decide to delay the upgrades, then by the time that Kjør finishes up his own upgrades, yours are not, you know, even remotely done yet. It's the little things. Anyways, here we go. Ooh, this is just a moment where Maru decided to unsiege a couple of his tanks as well. And the armor missile here is still on the Vikings too. Here we go, though. It's decided apparently that Maru is going to use his Stimpak upgrade. He's disabling a couple of the blue siege tanks there. Not a whole lot of medivacs in total. A couple of SCVs end up going down as well. I say a couple. It's actually a dozen at this point. I don't think Kjør can really push forward much further here, but already... yeah, this is a really nice engagement for him. Grabbing a 20 supply lead here. Most of that lead is apparently in dead SCVs. That does mean, though, that Maru is going to have a slightly rough spot at this point in the game. Yeah, it's Maru. He's like, you know what? I'll just make a planetary up north. It'll be fine. You don't want to overstay your welcome, Kjør. If he stims in between the siege tank shots, obviously there's definitely potential to break out of this. There's no way Maru is going to lose the command center, is there? Okay, Liberators come up. Here we go. This is apparently the moment where he decides to engage. He's expecting the opponent's siege tanks to unsiege, and most of them indeed did. Siege tank in red HB there, but it does manage to escape. Maru, okay. Getting a huge shot off right there. And Kjør indeed is going to be forced to retreat. Command center already back up to full HP, like it wasn't even shot at in the first place. +2/+2 finishing up for Maru soon enough. 3-3 starts up for the first time in the series, if I'm not mistaken. Kjør still ever so slightly ahead, but not really that much. Kjør getting his own planetary up and running here too. He hasn't actually seen his opponent's 4th base, which is a little bit shaky. Yeah. You kind of expect the opponent to have a 4th at this point, I suppose, but... ooh, okay. Kjør apparently going for a Doom Drop. Maru doesn't have vision of this. Oh, God. His star senses are tingling, though. He realizes that something might not be right. And Kjør apparently anticipating that the opponent anticipated his anticipation. Didn't even go for the commitment there in the first place. But that was... I don't know what was going on there. Both of these guys playing 3D chess with each other. Maru's upgrades quite a bit later. Double siege tank production here as well for Kjør at this point. Same can be said though for Maru. There we go. Big engagement from the player in red. Sieging up in a similar spot like we saw Kjør do earlier on the other side of the map. I don't really like this position from Maru here all too much, though, because I'm a little scared that all of these units in blue are going to go for a counterattack or just, you know, come back home and just sandwich this army. Alright. Maru apparently thinking the same thing as well. He hasn't seen his blue army on the right side of the map in a little bit. So he realized that he probably needs to get on out of there. Liberators over here will be stumbling upon this. Very quick reaction time that time around. Still, one Liberator has to pay for this with its life. And this is where we see that command center explosion, right? Maru adding on more CCs. We even now have the Raven energy upgrade as well right there. The Corvid reactor, which I gotta pronounce very delicately in my StarCraft casts. Just because if I forget the R, I might get demonetized. Corvid reactor. It'll show up on the right side of the map soon enough. Or on the right side of the screen. No, it's not actually that extreme anymore. I've heard at least... I haven't really had any demonetization issues in a long time, but... I heard at least that apparently early on, there were some drama there. When you just said the word, the C word, it would demonetize the video. Anyways, I haven't had that problem myself. Big fights happening all over the map right now. Mostly just trading blows though, although siege tanks being traded here as well. A couple of the Marines here from Maru magically managed to make their way around that blue Terran force. They're hunting for some of these units, but not gonna happen. There it is, guys. It's just the energy upgrade for the Raven, okay? It's not a controversial thing to do, I'm just saying. +3/+3 here from Maru as well. Alright, and now we're in the late game. Still liking this position for Cure a little bit better, but Maru's late game is something... Yeah, that's a bit special. It's not really what we normally see, even at the pro level. He's very good at judging these scenarios. You can see as well that with all of those additional command centers right now, you can expect scans left, right, and center. So both of these players now have essentially infinite vision. I mean, the fog of war is still very much so a thing, but it is deniable. You can basically just constantly scan the opponent's army and keep track of exactly where they're going. Yeah. Maru does make more CCs than the opponents, though. That's kind of interesting. Do we have a couple more coming up? Okay, yeah. So Kira is making a few more of his own right now. That is one big difference here. I've noticed that Maru really does add on more command centers than the other players. Kira apparently opting to go for a bit more of a bank instead. He's got a large army moving on the left side of the map, though. Maru right now thinking about engaging over here on the right side. Is this a good move right here from Kira? So it's going to be a base for a base, I suppose. That CC is going to be in a world of trouble. Oof. It's a lot of damage being done right here. At the same time, a similar situation is taking place on the other side of the map. Both players taking a bunch of losses. Maru losing some extra minerals there too, but apparently now the siege tanks in red have decided that they want to roll on over towards another location too. One of the command centers will be forced to be cancelled. Wouldn't be surprised that all of these blue siege tanks will make a similar move in just a little bit as well. Cure desperately trying to repair whatever he can. Both players taking a tremendous amount of losses, but yeah, this is a nice little advantage right now for Cure though, right? I mean, or sorry, for Maru though, right? I mean, because Cure ended up losing multiple command centers there, like what, 3 or 4 in total? Whereas Maru lost like 1? Maru even starting up another cheeky base all the way in the top left-hand corner during all of this drama. Kind of love that move. Cure is moving on over though. Not born today, he knows exactly what his opponent is capable of. So he's gonna find out that indeed a new command center was already started up there. Very quick stim as well. Nice moves there by Cure. Still though, I think Maru got the advantage there. He's moving a little bit further forward, disabling all of the blue siege tanks over here. This is apparently the moment where Maru decides to roll forward. 15 tanks in red versus only, well, 4 right now for Cure. Bottom right-hand corner, also taken by Maru. The siege tank counts are now heavily in favor, though, of Maru. Planetary also is not going to be coming up over here. Honestly, I think you should be glad it wasn't a planetary yet, because those siege tanks would just blow it up in like 2 waves. Alright, here we go. All of the red Marines are running dangerously low on health. There's a lot of Marines still available here for Cure, but so many siege tanks are just, yeah, blowing everything up. Maru has reacquired the base over here as well, or at least the potential to mine from that expansion. all the way up north. Whereas Kure at this point is essentially stuck on 3 bases. Look at the difference right now on the minimap. So Kure is long distance mining a 4th base, whereas Maru has got mineral patches to spare. Okay. Is there going to be enough for Kure to break all of these siege tanks, though? I'm really not sure. Even the Vikings now land too, and that's an absolute desperation move. Right now, that's going to give the advantage here for Maru as far as the air superiority goes as well. And Kure knows it. There's really no way he's going to be able to take this game from Maru's hands at this point. And it is going to be the Terran player Maru who obtains the victory.